Shalom, my friends, and Tu B'Shvat Sameach. Happy Tu B'Shvat from here in the Golan Heights in northern Israel near the border with Syria. Tu B'Shvat is an amazing holiday where we celebrate nature, and specifically we celebrate the trees. And it's very interesting. It's called the birthday of the trees, or the new year of the trees. And it's very, very interesting because you look at the trees now in the dead of winter and you think, why is now the new year? You'd think the new year, the birthday of the trees, would be when the fruits come out or when the flowers bloom. But that isn't the new year. The new year of the trees is when the process all begins. After the winter rains, the sap from the trees, now on the 15th of the month of Shvat, the sap begins to come up through the roots, through the bark, and that begins the life process that eventually will turn into beautiful flowers and delicious fruit to eat. And so in a way, we're celebrating now the beginning of the process, the awakening in the dead of winter. And I think there's a lot of spiritual messages that we could learn from this also. That even in the dead of winter, this is when the trees are having an awakening. That even in the darkest times in our lives, there is hope. It's possible precisely during the darkest times in our life, where we could get the beginning of strength through prayer to God, through work, spiritual work, inner work. Because what we learn from the tree is the sap on the inside starts coming up on Tu B'Shvat, but we don't see the fruits until many months later. We don't see the fruits and the flowers until after this process has already begun and been going on for a long time. And also within ourselves, the spiritual work begins within. First, we have to make a decision to be good people, to trust in the Lord, to do mitzvot, good deeds, to help others, to pray, to meditate, to cry out to God. All that work is done inside, the decision. And then only after we make that decision and we let it go into our whole body, into our whole being, into our whole spirit, only then, maybe it's weeks later, maybe it's months later, will we see the fruit of that decision, which is happiness, which is doing good deeds, which is changing our lifestyle. But the first thing to do is to make the decision within, that you're going to change, that you're going to cry out to God, that you're going to go on the right path. And that's the work that nobody sees from the outside, but it's the beginning for something so beautiful. And you can't have beauty on the outside until you have beauty on the inside. And that's what we learn from the tree. Now is when the process starts. The fruit won't come to be if the sap inside doesn't start its process. And so on Tu B'Shvat, today, we're starting that process. We're starting the process of looking within ourselves, of making the decisions of where we want to be in the dead of winter. We're making the decision of where we want to be, and only then could summer come. Only then could the fruits grow. Only then will our good actions and joy in the Lord be evident. So happy Tu B'Shvat, happy New Year of the trees. I encourage you to remember as you look outside, maybe you have snow outside, maybe it's freezing ice. Remember that even there is life. And even in the darkest times, God and hope still exists. Shalom from the Golan Heights.